All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Single Daddy Daily podcast. I am not here with Drew Manning. If you guys tuned into last week's episode, you know that Drew is kind of taking a hiatus from Single Daddy Daily. So I am excited. I'm beyond excited to introduce my new host to the Single Daddy Daily podcast, Miss Chady Dunmore.
What's up?
Welcome. She's in the house, literally in my house.
Literally in the house, yes.
In my living room.
We are in a new generation of life right now.
Yeah, we're Corona Watch Day 7 million.
Mm-hmm.
How long is it?
I forgot what day it was today. I did realize on the way over here it's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday,
and we're in May. We've been quarantined since March.
So yeah, I want to talk about a whole lot of things. First and foremost, you have been a guest on our show in the past.
I have.
And I think there was so much positive feedback about your kind of real approach to parenting, all of the stuff that you've been through, all of the, I think, issues as a single parent. And a lot of the feedback came in the sense of we need to hear more of that. As single parents, we need to have more of the real, what does it like down in the trenches? Sometimes it sucks. It's not all wine and roses. Mm-hmm. How do we kind of trudge forward day after day knowing that things are at times bleak? And I think people really responded to the way that you kind of approach this no nonsense, no bullshit way of being a single parent. So I was stoked when you said, yeah, I want to be a part of this.
Yeah. And I think I don't have a co-parent. He's not around as much as I would like. So I really have to go through that single parent. I'm a one-woman show these days. So
in so many ways, and we're going to talk about that.
And so you're definitely going to get a different perspective from me.
Well, and you also have a teenager too. So you're going to kind of be a cautionary tale for me. And you guys might see on the video that my daughter's kind of, sneaking in and out of the backdrop. And at 6 years old, she looks like she's 26, and it's freaking me out.
She's got shoulder with her little tie-dye top.
And
it's so cute, but it's scary because they're growing up. Her voice changed.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, she doesn't have a baby voice anymore.
I still have a baby voice. I'm waiting for mine to drop. I'm hoping I'm going to go through puberty sometime soon. I don't know if it's allergies here in Sacramento, but I'm like my voice just keeps getting higher and higher.
Oh man, allergies are horrible right now.
Oh fuck allergies.
I never had allergies until I moved to Sacramento. So
the joke was in Colorado. You go to the doctor and you say, "Hey, what can I do about dry skin?" He's like, "Move to Florida." I went to the doctor here. And I'm like, "What can I do about allergies?" He's like, "Move back to Colorado."
Yeah. I mean, I lived in Florida. My skin was great, but here I never had allergies until I moved here, and now I have to take decongestants all the time. But there's worse things.
Yeah,
let's focus on our kids.
Yeah, I'm blowing Zyrtec up my nose. Okay, so we're in Corona Watch. By the way, I don't know about you, but this is the first time I've put on actually it's the first time I've put on pants in a long time.
I'm in jeans. I've been wearing leggings and jogging pants for the last 3 months. I put these on and I'm like, all right, Chady, no more bagels. It was kind of nice to dress up and put clothes on and put, curl my hair and put lashes on. And
you too?
Yeah.
What do you think of mine?
Your lashes are fabulous. But yeah, I mean, we're wearing jeans. I think you've been laying out and you guys have a great tan.
Thank you. I will be honest. I have not put pants on in the better part of a month.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's kind of you though.
True.
What's different?
Yeah. It's just weird when I would go to the airport and get on planes and do that.
Yeah.
TSA had an issue.
Yeah. You got.
Now I'm in my house. Clothes. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, that's good.
So you've been a single. Well, let's kind of do a little bit of a recap, right?
Yeah.
We learned a lot about you on the Single Daddy Daily show that you were on, but tell the audience who you are.
I am a mother foremost before I even say anything because my daughter is my why. And so most people know me from my fitness background, just competing in the bodybuilding industry and having great titles and magazine covers. But as soon as I became a mother to her, she has just been my why. And it feels like now that she's a teenager, I feel like I'm having those those feelings of just like, this is the most important ages. Like, remember when our kids started walking and we're like, okay, oh shit, can I cuss on this?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And that's another thing that we're changing the dynamic up a little bit. It's about to get real.
Okay.
And when we,
because you have a New Yorker and a Puerto Rican girl right here, so there's a lot of Tourette's coming
do you have
out.
multiple personality disorder? Oh no,
I
the same person. Okay, I was a little confused there.
So I was like, she's 13, she's gonna be 14, and this is the age where I feel like, oh shit, she's walking again. There is so much access to social media and YouTube and TikTok, and I feel like this is the age where I cannot blink.
No.
I can't blink at all. So even if she's underneath the roof in the same house, I have to, have to just keep an eye on her, and I have to pay attention to the friends that she's around, what she's absorbing, and when she's speaking. As much as we're busy, this is the age where I have to stop and listen. And I know that. And I'm becoming more aware of that because these next 4 or 5 years, can you think about it? 4 summers for me until she's 18.
Until she's gone. Off to college.
Or
home college, because that might
college.
be the corona way that things happen in the next 4 years.
But it's like it's just a crucial age, and I'm revolving my life around her lately. More than I did before, because I don't want to skip a beat. So I am just a mom. I manage a couple of other jobs where I manage athletes. I, represent brands, and I am an NLP master practitioner. I got my accreditation on that.
Congratulations.
I know, I love it. And I, love mentoring and coaching people, but I'm a mom and I'm a girlfriend. I have a boyfriend who has 2 kids. So this quarantine has been interesting because I've been quarantined at his house, and we've been blending the kids on the weekends, and it's fun. It's fun. It's just, we got 3 different ages. The kids are just, it's just 3 different ages. We have 7, 9, and 13. And it's just different dynamics where it's like ordering a meal. Everybody wants a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's busy. He's home now. He's not traveling as much. From someone who was traveling all over the world, 150 shows a year.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's home, and I think his artistic switch just went on because he's like, he's an artist. And so if anything, this whole quarantine has ignited him even more. So, I've been helping him. He's been doing these lives 3 times a week. So I'm doing that, as well as, just catching up on my phone, and all these, just everything is Zoom now.
Mm-hmm.
And
which, again, you don't have to wear pants for that.
I know, but we have all these kids in the house, and and I have been cooking a lot, which is different. I didn't do that in my first marriage. I'm a different person now into this relationship. I love it because
you love cooking?
I like cooking because he likes when I cook.
Oh.
He's not judging me. I don't feel judged. Where in past relationships, I felt like they were critiquing or over my shoulder, that backseat driver. And he's just so encouraging. So I think he's getting a different version of me, where people, my family, were so surprised that I was like, wow, she's cooking. I'm cooking every single day.
Nice.
Yeah. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks.
Wow.
I know. I mean, we have a couple of days where we order sushi, or we'll grab,
Where are you ordering sushi from?
Makuni's.
Oh.
Yeah.
We
did a couple nights with crew. But,
yeah.
the kids want sushi. They have their rolls that they're already accustomed to. And
that's the one thing. We've been ordering out almost daily.
Yeah.
Because I don't cook.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't cook. But to that extent, it's, I keep thinking sushi, but I'm like, sushi delivered just seems weird.
Well, we pick it up.
Oh.
Yeah. So we just order it, and they'll say it'll be done in 45 minutes, and we just go out front.
You clearly are quarantining better than I am, because I leave the house twice a week only to take my daughter back to her mom's.
Yeah.
Then I come back here. I don't go out front. I just actually walked around the block for the first time in months today.
Evan, I've been running.
I'm
like a new person in this quarantine. I don't run at all. I ran 3 miles, which is, I can barely run 5 minutes, but I for 2 weeks, 3 times a week, we were running leading up to 3 miles. And this one day last week, I just ran the whole 3 miles within 10 to 11 minutes a mile. And I was so proud of myself. My lungs were like, I was like, I can't believe I did that. He kept looking back at me, my boyfriend, while we were running. He's like, are you okay? And I'm like, I got this. I think
Keep going.
just like, don't stop. I'm doing well. I'm surviving. It was cool that I was able to do it. Never thought I would be able to run 3 miles, yet a mile. I never even did it in high school when it was required. I was that girl, like second to last, walking the mile. Took her like 45 minutes to walk it. And now I'm running 3 miles. And then once in a while I'll do like a Zoom workout online from weights. Just keeping busy, I'm a homebody though. So, but I am missing the gym. I am missing my friends. Like, this is really cool that we get to interact like an adult.
I know.
This is very cool. And I'm excited that we get to interview people. And so, this is going to be a great project.
Yeah, well, I'm super excited that you decided to be a part of this. There's a lot of questions that I think I want to ask as we evolve this new partnership, this new relationship. But so let's back up. You're a mom, you're a girlfriend. You've had a pretty interesting life, a very interesting trajectory to this point. But I will, before we get into you as a mom, let's get into you becoming a single mom.
Yeah.
And I know that you've had a pretty tumultuous road to get to this point, with relationships, both your ex-husband, and, the ex-boyfriend. Do you mind if we talk about that?
Yeah, let's talk about it. I have, I don't mind. I have a couple, I was telling a friend of mine before this interview that I've actually restarted, like rebuilding my life 3 times because, when I go into these relationships, I go all in. So, I was married with my daughter's dad. I met him when I was 21, got married a couple years later, and
it's just way too young, isn't it?
I know. So here's the thing. I think it was very young, but I don't regret it because at that time you're in love and you want to be with the person and you go all in and you play house, and it was great. And I have a beautiful daughter and out of it. When it ended, it was kind of like me going through the transition from losing all this weight from after having my daughter. And it wasn't like a revenge body and now I got to drop the man. It wasn't like that. It was more of like when I was losing the weight, I was finding myself again. I was having control of my life again in my heart. And, the marriage was it was tough. I think a lot of people, they don't realize, bringing kids is a huge step into a relationship. You have hormones when you're pregnant. There's a lot of things that get highlighted underneath the magnifying glass when there's a new baby.
Oh, absolutely.
And I would say the biggest test for most relationships is the first year of having a child. Because everything is highlighted from sleep deprivation to nobody has their own privacy or time alone anymore. Somebody, there's a child involved. And so for me, he was a great dad, but I had lost all this weight. And at that time, he was transitioning through his work stuff. And I was just transitioning into myself, where I was finding who I was, and I was a new mom. And I just realized that we were more roommates and friends more than partners.
Husband and wife.
Yeah. And, I think I didn't want a divorce and he didn't want a divorce, but I knew it was the best thing because I literally felt like I was just had a roommate. And it's like, hey, when are you going to do this or do that? Just like high-fiving each other. Like, it was just kind of like,
we changed the diaper. Yeah.
There was no passion at all. And I'm a Latina woman and I needed passion in my life. And so, yeah, I requested the divorce. We tried doing counseling. It just, it wasn't even the age gap because he's 7 years older than me. I just feel like when we married, it was great. We were together for 10 years, married 7 years. And it was, some people say it's a 7-year itch. Some people say it was just grew apart. I just feel like I grew up, and, you know, he is in my life with my daughter every so often. Would wish he was in the house, my daughter's life more than he is now. But I also know him as a person, and he's just, there's some obstacles he's going through, and some people just, they put in the work to grow, and some people don't.
Mm-hmm.
And some people go at snail speed, some people go at turtle speed. I just decided to get on a bicycle, and I haven't been going as fast as I would like, but at my age now, I feel like I'm really stepping into my light, and I feel like I have so much ahead. Like, I honestly feel like my highlight hasn't even come upon yet. I think that the covers and all the great accolades of all the trophies are amazing, but I feel like they're just stepping stones to really meeting my potential and what I feel like I can do and helping other women. And I feel like I had to go through all these steps in my life and all these chapters and horrible chapters. I had some good chapters, but I had some really bad chapters in my life to get to have the platform to help other women. And I'm grateful for it because I have a daughter, and I want to be her teacher, and I want to be able to show her the right way and break generational curses where there's things that we see as young, and I don't want to, close it into ethnic women, but, especially in the Latin culture, it's, you are supposed to be submissive.
Mm-hmm. It's a very male-dominated society.
Yes. And so my mom stayed home a lot, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love being home. I'm a homebody. But I also like having my own identity, and I like having my own money. Because if I want to buy my husband a gift, there's no money limit. Like, don't give me a budget.
Yeah.
If I want to
You don't have to ask for money to buy someone a gift.
Yeah. And, it may not be a lot of money that I make, but I just want to have,
Well, that's part of you, right? That's
Yeah.
carving out something that's your own.
Yeah.
It's not the money; it's the identity.
It's the identity. And my mom didn't have that. And so I saw, from years of therapy, I saw a lot of things as a young girl. And I feel like it makes sense to me now from all the mistakes that I made. And
Did you do that thing when kind of growing up? You're like, I'm never going to be like my parents when I have kids.
I didn't, but I do now, because I say I don't want to, I want to experience stuff. And my mom is still, she's a phenomenal woman. She's a caregiver. She takes care of my grandmother. But there's so much of life that I wish she can experience, and she will eventually. But as much as we want to shake up that person and be like, go to this speed, and we want them to go on the speed we would like to go. But sometimes people have to go through their emotions, and they have to go through their own waves on their surfboard. And
you are full of analogies today.
Because it's all perspective. It really is. I really had to sit back and look at myself the last couple of years and realize, as much as I want to judge other people, or how I would be like, oh, I'm not going to do that. You can't judge anybody, because everybody has to go through their own stuff. But I can judge. She's army crawling on the back. I can judge I can take control of my decisions. And that's the only thing I can take control of. And I do want to take control on how I am being a mother, and what comes out of my mouth to a lot of people who look up to my my Instagram post or anything I write, because for any reason, it's powerful that I can affect something by a caption. And then it makes them just rethink steps that they may take in their journey. So all I can just is continue to do the work and be the best mom, and that's my main goal right now. I have 4 or 5 years until she could tell me, flick me off, and and I'm gonna take advantage of that, because it's like when they're babies, you get to pick out their clothes. Now I can't do that, but
I can't do it now, and she's 6.
Man, it's tough, man.
It's getting weird.
It is weird when you're a parent to a girl.
Yeah, And it, because we have taken a turn into a little bit more of adult content oriented podcast platform, I recognize that all of my friends, guys, said one thing when they're like, when you have, here's the bad part. When you have a boy, you worry about one dick. When you have a girl, you worry about all dicks.
Oh gosh.
And I'm like, I'm thinking that, and I'm like, oh God, these are the issues that I think we deal with, but it's, there's so many challenges that we're facing right now as kind of like she's coming into her own identity.
Yeah.
We're trying to struggle through Corona and just the feelings that she's dealing with of not being able to be around her friends and the disruption. And then my frustration from having not been on a plane in 2 months, or having to wear pants for the first time. It's like, things are just getting weird around here.
I know. I'm still in shock I ran.
You ran. I'm wearing pants. It's like, dogs and cats are living together.
I know.
The whole world's gone upside down.
I know. But you know what? We got to make the best of it. And we're lucky that we have this to still have access to communicate to people.
Yeah.
Had this, we think 20, 30 years back, things would have been a lot different. So...
It's interesting. One of the stats that we're seeing is that the number of domestic violence calls are on the rise.
Yeah.
Because people don't know how to live together.
Yeah, and they're drinking. People are drinking more.
Yeah.
So they're drinking more. And then I think about not only domestic violence, because I'm a victim from domestic violence, which worries me, that I've actually made a post about saying, if you talk to me about what's my recipe for my aunts, then I'll know it's a sign to...
Call the police
for you or whatnot. But I think about the kids who are struggling now with parents who are abusive. That's hard because I know there's a lot of teachers out there that know that there's, kids who don't have food.
Mm-hmm.
They rely on school food. There's just, that's when I put things in perspective and I'm like, okay, like, don't worry about your nails and your hair and... there's some real life issues going on with like people who are, physically getting abused by people they live with.
Mm-hmm.
And then their suicide rates have gone up too. We spoke to a firefighter who, we did a restore campaign where we raised funds for IV fluids for first responders. And so we had a lot of first responders coming in and we asked them, how are things going? And a couple of police and firefighters said that there were a lot of robberies going on because people are losing their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a lot of suicides.
Yeah, it's scary out there. And, we haven't seen we clearly have not seen the end of it. Mm-hmm. I think that this is something that we're going to have to get used to. And our way of life might never return. And so there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to talk about in the future is how do we adjust as parents to what's most likely going to be the new normal, and whether that's, your boyfriend travels a lot. I travel, ridiculous amounts. I'm looking at that like, how do I travel? How do I continue to do the work that I used to do? How do I figure out how to do kindergarten math? Because what the hell? It's 2 + 2. Why did they have to change it?
Tedious work.
It's tedious work, but there's a whole new normal that's coming down the pike that we're going to have to adjust to. And I think as single parents, that's going to be even more challenging because we play so many roles as it is, but now you throw teacher and you throw like swim coach and you throw, social director on top of that when, it's like, we're trying to do as many FaceTime and Zoom play dates as possible just so she has that kind of interaction.
Yeah. I think it's more work now.
It's a lot more work.
It's a lot more work, and we all just became like teachers. It's a weird time right now, but again, put it in perspective, things could be a lot worse. And at least your ex is close by. There's people who they live super far from their exes. Kids are having a hard time being in the middle of this because they don't have access to their friends, and that's probably their scapegoat, school and friends.
Yeah.
And then they're listening to their parents judge the other parent, and they're just home all the time. They're bored. Their parents wants them to read a book. Yeah. They're just like,
what's a book?
Exactly. So
it's like a tablet with pages.
I know. It's just got to become creative with just keeping them active too, because that's another thing. Everybody wants to be on their phones and tablets, and you have to get out. But I must say that I have seen more people outside and family activities. It's actually cool seeing everybody do these walks and runs and bike rides. And
We're going to be a cardio nation after this because no one's
yeah,
going back to the gym, right?
I think it's going to be it's going to be different for people to go back to the gym now. Because as much as, I mean, there's a lot of germs in the gym, you know, and, you know, there's places like Orange Theory and F45 that they automatically give people wipes to wipe down machines before they switch over. But, you know, still, there's still germs placed. And people, they saw how easy it was to work out at home. They ordered, I think, Peloton, I think that's what it's called. They've sold out. They had a waiting list for bikes. And people are just getting accustomed now to working out at home that I think it's going to be hard for people to get back in the gym.
You know, it's funny, as kind of a scientist, and we talk a lot about science on this show, and my perception of this disease, and again, I'm not an expert by any stretch, but I do have a lot of friends who I would consider to be experts on the medical side of this. And as we really look at what this is going to do to shape the nation, shape the world in a lot of respect, like, my thing is, you couldn't pay me to go to a gym right now.
Yeah.
And I don't think you could pay me to go to the gym for like the next 6 to 12 months.
Please tell me why.
Well, it's...
And the only reason I'm asking is because I don't go a lot of places, but I do go to the gym because it's like my haven. Like I love taking classes, and I know how to work out myself, but sometimes I need someone to torture me. And if anything, I'm missing the gym more than the hair salon and the nail salon.
Oh, totally.
I want to run there now, but I do want to hear, like, my brother's like, I think this is going to be a second spike to like people getting sick again, and you have to be careful because I have an existing autoimmune disease.
Yeah, you absolutely have to be
careful.
careful.
If anybody, I need to be more careful. I'm going to be going to the gym with like gloves and whole body mask.
And again, you know, this is my opinion. This is not a fact. So, you know, you listeners out there, feel free to lambaste me on social. But again, opinion is there's not a single more dangerous place than a gym right now. You know, a hospital has infectious control procedures in place, but a gym, it's, you know, people are there, they're breathing heavy, they're sweating, you know, they're touching equipment. There's no conceivable way to eradicate that virus in that environment as quickly as it would spread. And the problem is that with 85%, up to 85% of the people being asymptomatic, there could be carriers of that virus in the gym, not know it, and then you're passing it along to people. Now, what we're seeing is, again, you know, some of it's speculative, some of it's concrete, is that even people with antibodies are getting sick again. So is this virus mutating? You know, is it just that the antibodies are not able to keep the virus at bay? You know, you also have people in the gym who are ultimately very healthy, right? And what we do know is that the body's, you know, pro-inflammatory cytokine response, the cytokine storm, is the thing that's killing people. So it's our bodies attacking ourselves. So, people in our age demographic are suffering from major clots, strokes. You know, people in our kids demographic are starting to get sick. You know, right now, as you know, Fauci said today, I think a press conference or in a congressional meeting, was, we just don't know. And in a virus that's this scary, and I was one of the first people in the beginning. I'm like, it's the flu. It's not a big deal. I'm like, you know, put me on a plane. I don't care. I've got a strong immune system. I'm usually not one to scare, but when I look at the data, and as a data geek, I'm like, there's really something to pay attention to here. And to that extent, it's, I say around here, it's the family motto is live, grow stronger, fight another day. It's, you know, once science has the opportunity to catch up, and that's all we're doing is giving science the opportunity to catch up, to find a vaccine, to figure out how, you know, how we get out in front of this. The gym is ground zero for a spike. And I think that there's a couple CrossFit gyms in Georgia after they opened back up where, you know, like 14 people got sick in like one class.
Whoa.
You know, it's like, and what do you expect? It's, you know, you've got 20 people in a class breathing heavily, touching everything. And, you know, people go to wipe sweat off their face. Now you've got the virus on your face. It's like, so not to scare you, but
no, I
keep
need
running
to be
the 3 miles.
Yeah, I know. I have Bowflex weights in the house, and I have access to Zoom workouts that are Facebook Live, so I can watch them anytime. So I think it's just being around that energy I miss.
Totally.
But yeah, I feel like I need to just probably stay out of it mix.
Yeah.
Until probably November, December. Just
And that's when we most likely are going to see it. We're going to see a second spike as the country reopens, and then as cold and flu season hits, I think we're going to see another spike. But, I think that there's every possibility that, as the initial projections indicated, that we're going to see a lot more deaths. We're going to see a lot more sickness. And, if this virus mutates, then we're going to continue to see, ramifications of that mutation. And that's starting to see healthy age demographics suffer from indications that we didn't catch in the beginning. Again, like the blood clotting, the strokes,
those weren't the signs before.
No, it was like you got a dry cough, and then all of a sudden, you've got glass in your lungs, which is and now it's clotting. It's kids are showing up with indications that present like Kawasaki disease, which is a total body inflammatory response. So it's, now's the time to be diligent. As parents, I know that it's tough, and I think, we're thinking like, well, when do things get back to normal? When do the kids go back to school? And my first response as a parent, not just a single parent, as a parent who is only concerned about the safety of my kid, is when we figure this shit out.
Yeah.
Like I'll suffer through first, second, third grade math if that's what it takes. But once we get back to a place where we feel comfortable going back out into the world, then so it's going to be interesting. But we've got podcasting. We've got.
Yeah. I got a letter from my daughter's school because she's going into high school this year, and they're doing tryouts like for athletic activities through a first tier of it, which is the first level of, it's not going to make you on the team, but it'll get you qualified to, I think they just try to find ideas for these kids because at the end of the day, like, I think everybody's just like, what the hell is all this? This is like crazy.
Yeah.
It's like a crazy, weird Twilight movie that we're in.
Totally. And I mean, think about it this way. Like in high school, it was, I don't know if you remember your high school, but I think like mono was a big issue, right?
Yeah,
like,
mono.
You start making out with everybody in high school, you might get mono. Like now it's like, that's the least of our worries.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you start making out with someone, you're going to get corona.
Yeah. For younger age, it's head lice, then it's Krupp's cough.
Yes.
Krupp's cough, there is a little bit, and then it's mono when you get older. But anybody who has any type of upper respiratory issues or have had a bronchitis, ammonia, mono, whatever, you're going to get sick. You're more susceptible in getting sick again.
Totally.
So I haven't had mono. I've had a pneumonia before. And I have everything else.
So you're not wearing a mask, but
I know. I wanted to work out at home. I need to just stay home. But it's scary. It sucks, and I feel bad for the kids who were seniors this year. They had to can't walk. There's people who had planned weddings.
Just think, they save themselves the divorce later on.
What's so funny is that you're so jaded. I'm jaded.
I'm realistic.
But listen, I'm jaded. I'm jaded to a certain capacity where it's like China wall, like you can't get past. And then it's like I am heart on my sleeve, and I still believe in love, but I do. I believe
in love. I just don't believe in marriage.
Yeah. I mean, you could pinky promise each other, and nobody has to know that you guys got married legally. You can tell everybody, this is my wife, da-da-da-da. You can have a great ring. You can just play house. And then when you guys are like, hey, this is not working out anymore. Cool. Fist pump.
Yeah.
Let's go our separate ways. And then it saves so much money.
Yeah.
But that's like...
My ex-father-in-law, prior to the wedding, as we were starting to plan our wedding, was like, can I just write you guys a check and, like help with a down payment on the house? And, of course, we're like, no, we want this big, lavish wedding. And I look back, I'm like, that was the most expensive party of all time.
Yeah.
And if you amortize it out over the number of years we were married, it makes it even worse.
But you know what? When we were young, we thought, it's forever.
Yeah.
Because I did the fancy wedding, too. I mean, my ex-husband planned my wedding. It was on Inside Edition as, the story on men planning weddings. And
really?
Yeah, it was a beautiful wedding. It was, everybody wore white. He came in a white horse.
Jesus.
It was a beautiful wedding. It was in Santa Barbara. I mean, we ended up having a house later. He's a home builder. But we just, I feel like just really take your time before you marry. And I do believe in I don't know. I think people just need to fuck up.
Totally. Sometimes more than
I'm
once.
Just if you want to get married, but I have my views on it. I think people need to go through their own shit.
Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
You know, and you're never going to save someone from doing that, right? You know,
No.
if people are, when
As
you're
much
young,
as you were gonna like your daughter's gonna fall in love one day, and you're gonna be like, hell no. It's just she's got to go through her own shit.
totally. And I'm going to be the dad who's going to be like, I'll write you a check, down payment on the house instead of the wedding. And she's like, I'll take the wedding, Dad. And I'm like, yeah.
That's what's gonna happen, especially now that you set it out to the universe.
Oh, totally, totally. And it's not going to be like a little, you know, elope, you know, go up to a mountain town. It's going to be like, we invited 700 people.
Oh gosh, yeah. You better start saving right now.
Oh God, you know, those of you listening
She's got
out
good
there,
taste like you too. So
yeah, we're going to start selling some stuff on the Single Daddy Daily website to pay for both of our kids' weddings. We don't know what it is.
yeah.
But we're going to start selling something soon. Actually, there are some really unique surprises that we're going to be talking about in the coming weeks with our fans. So excited to drop some information, and we'll do that probably within the next 3 to 4 weeks. And
Nice.
yeah, so my daughter's walking back and forth behind the couch as we're sitting here.
So question: since you're so knowledgeable with the medical side of it, antibody tests.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like everyone should get one done?
Yes. Now, here's the problem with that. And interestingly enough, I just ordered a case of antibody tests.
Awesome.
And so my goal is I want to try to get these in the hands of as many people as possible for information purposes only right now. And the challenge with an antibody test or a COVID test is, what do you do with that information, right? And I jokingly had this conversation the other day, like if you take a herpes test and it comes back positive, well, now you know what to do, right?
Right.
Well, like I still have safe sex, but if I have it, well, now I have to have those adult conversations with
Right.
people. And we're gonna get into the weird elements of, you know, post-divorce sex. That seems to be a lot of the questions that we get time and time again on social media. But anyway, that test gives you specific roadmap of how you behave afterwards. The antibody test right now doesn't really. And actually, Wall Street Journal just 2 hours ago said even if you have an antibody test that shows that you have the antibodies, that's not a free pass to just go out and you know, be cavalier. Simply because we do not know, is there a potential mutation that, you know, is this virus mutating fast enough that the antibody is not going to protect you? Or even if it's not mutating, are the antibodies enough to protect you from the viral load that seems to be happening out there? And we saw this in Italy, right? You know, some of the young doctors, the frontline people, healthy, no comorbidity factors, you know, relatively, you know, no indication that they would succumb to this at all. And it was simply the viral load being around it time and time again that ultimately did it. So I think the antibody test is just a recognition of like, okay, I've been exposed. I have the antibodies now, but that doesn't give you the free pass to do whatever you want. It's a recognition that, okay, you know, this happened and I still need to be diligent and vigilant in how you deal day in and day out in this world right now.
And how do you feel about the mask?
Well, okay, here's where science kind of wins, right? Like, it's bullshit. The micron size of the virus is so small that no mask, not even the most advanced, like, you know, surgical masks aren't going to stop it.
Well, I don't think they're saying it's going to stop it. I think they're just making people be more conscious of their breathing, coughing, especially like you have that bus driver guy who, you know, he clearly posted a video and went viral on Facebook and him complaining about someone who was coughing and they don't cover their mouth. And I know that obviously even if someone covers their mouth, they have the germs in their hands and they hold on to the pole of getting out of the bus and germs, people are touching the pole, so defeats the whole process. But the mask is just making people more conscious of breathing and so on. But here's the thing, I feel like, I mean, we grew up, we cover your mouth when you sneeze or put it in your elbow.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like controversy of people having like these theories of it's to cover our mouth from like it's a control thing, and it's just there's so many like things out there, and I literally can't watch the news, and I can't like even it's bad on social media now, and I'm like I'm like following this person, and then I'm following that, then I start watching all these videos, and it's scary because I feel like I can't trust anybody.
No, and that's the one thing that I absolutely, if you listen to the scientists, if you listen to the medical professionals, they time and time again will say this is what we understand from the data. It's not fact, it's speculation. This is what we extrapolate from the data. And the scientists are doing a really good job of trying to control what the data says and the outcomes from that data. It's the people who have no business trying to claim opinion as fact, getting on social media and saying, this is exactly what it is. And I was actually like, Rand Paul is a perfect example in the congressional meeting today, talking a lot about opinion as fact. And it's that kind of I don't even know how to say it.
Because of his platform, people are like making it more of like, well, he said it. It should be. Exactly. It's probably real, and it's not. It's
then that gets disseminated to Fox News and then CNN, and so people start taking all of these.
Speaking of news, did you see that circulation of the news, like recycling the content, and they were like different newscasters saying the same exact thing? That scares me.
Of course it is. And it's like,
like, what the fuck?
Totally. There's one thing is like, be smart. That's the one thing that we know is be smart. If you want to wear a mask, the great thing about a mask is it stops you from touching your face.
Yes.
And so, from that standpoint, is it going to stop the particles from getting in, airborne particles of the virus from getting past the mask? Absolutely not. But it does stop you from touching your face. So if it limits the potential infection, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I think United Airlines, and I'm going to call them out, they had this whole thing about we're only going to sell window and aisle seats and keep the middle ones open. And then some doctor posted a picture of like every seat was full. I'm like, seriously? Like, yeah, I'm getting right off that plane. I wouldn't get on a plane right now anyway, but I would get off that one.
Yeah.
So
I didn't know about that.
As we go through this, right, it's be intelligent, be aware, be smart. Avoid large gatherings. Social distancing is still going to be the best way to do it. And, the only thing that we're doing right now is buying the academic community, the doctors, the scientists, the real people who should be speaking, not the politicians and not the Instagram influencers who know abso-fucking-lutely nothing about science or medicine, dictate how we live. It's let them come up with a cure. Let them eradicate this the way that we know the science can. And so that we can, for all intents and purposes, get back to a life that resembles pre-corona. Now, does that mean that there's not going to be corona, COVID-20 or COVID-21 when someone decides to eat a snake or whatever? Who knows?
Yeah.
But what we learn from this is, how do we adapt and how do we become resilient in the face of things that we weren't prepared for? Much like parenting, right? Because this is,
this is a great way to bring up now that I don't want to get too deep into the corona stuff. As parents, I haven't experienced this because I've had my daughter full time, but my daughter's, my boyfriend's kids are with their mom. And so when they come to us, in my mind, I'm thinking, where have his kids been?
Totally.
Right? So I'm thinking like, we don't have like they come every weekend, but in the beginning it was scary because I'm like, okay, have the kids been quarantined and we're wiping everything down? And of course they were and stuff, but this is the time I think as a single parent, a lot of parents are, because before it's like fighting for kids, the time. Now we have this new crazy scenario where we have parents who are like, well, where have the kids been? Have they been at the grocery store? Did you wash their hands? I can only imagine the fights that it's causing. I haven't experienced it, thankfully, but I'm not going to put you on the spot, but think about
No. We had this conversation early on.
Okay.
And it was one that, again, I will admit I was a little flippant about, the whole corona when it first came out. She was scheduled to go to DISNEY kind of a week before the shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
And I remember at that point, this was 2 weeks. Actually, no, it was kind of 2 weeks after corona had hit the news, a week before they really started to implement some things, like shutting down stuff. And I remember for the first couple of weeks, I'm like, this is not a big deal. And then a week before they were supposed to leave, I remember, texting my ex. I'm like, I don't really know if this is a good idea.
Yeah.
And then 2 days later, they closed the park anyway.
Yeah.
But we've really done a good job, I would say, of at least just acknowledging that, hey, let's do our best to keep it safe. We're not going to be throwing big parties. It's, obviously she's going to be exposed to some people, but let's try to keep that exposure to a minimum. She's become very astute about washing her hands and using Purell. I think she's bathing in the stuff now. Everybody smells like alcohol around here, and it's not from drinking.
I know. Isn't that crazy? I never thought we would be putting more alcohol in our hands than in our mouth.
I haven't had a drink in like 2.5 months.
That's awesome.
I'm quarantining like it's a sober quarantine.
Is it on purpose or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just
cool.
Yeah, like I figure let's this is the time to get healthy.
It's time to get shredded.
Totally.
You gotta come out of this quarantine looking hella ripped.
Totally. And if
I can't say the same. I've been bulking up for this movie I'm doing. Not really. It's not a movie, but I think people should see, a different side of me, a cooking side of me, a running side of me, and definitely an eating side of me.
You're gonna be like the new Rachel Ray.
Oh gosh, imagine if I could, add more healthy cooking meals.
Yeah.
Turning like healthy, like fried chicken into a healthy fried chicken.
But
do I want to do that? I mean, I kind of like fried chicken.
Yeah, some things you don't need to fix.
Yeah, I think I might do that. I think I need to start posting more of my cooking stuff.
What I think you should do is we'll do. I had this great idea for a Single Daddy Daily, which I think is going to transition into Single Parent Daily now that you're here. Is invariably when you have a dinner party, where does everybody end up?
In the kitchen.
Exactly. So my thought was we should start doing some episodes. It's like around the kitchen table, bottle of
I like
wine.
Your style. I like
maybe
it.
We're cooking a meal.
See?
You're cooking a meal. I'll eat it.
Evans, this is a dream come true.
Yeah. And we can talk, we can invite other parents to really talk about the major pressing problems that we face, not just as parents, but as single parents. And how do we tackle those as a community? And I think when I had this vision, well, let's back up real fast because I think a lot of people know this, but if you don't, if you're tuning in for the first time, Single Daddy Daily was really born out of a bad, dark spot in my life. And it was after my divorce, and I was in a bitter spot. I wasn't happy. I was kind of angry at all of the wrong people, and I hadn't really started to work on myself that I needed to really be accountable for a lot of the issues that led to my divorce. I think a lot of the issues that really followed me throughout my entire life. And so Single Daddy Daily was really this cathartic opportunity for me to vent to the whole world about all of the other things that were wrong except myself. And luckily, I had a couple good friends who read some of the content that I put out right away and told me that I was being an asshole. And so I subsequently...
Those are good friends right there.
Those were good friends, yeah. They're like, you're being an asshole. Shut it down. But the idea always stayed is that single parents are a community, right? And all parents are a community. We want the best for our kids. We want to raise healthy, happy kids.
Absolutely.
And single parents have the invariable challenge of doing that on their own or in a mixed, family or a blended family. So what we really want here at this platform, what we really want out of this podcast, what I'm so excited for as you being a part of this journey is that we're a community of people that rally around that concept that we're here to help our kids become the most successful, happy, well-adjusted human beings on the planet. So that they don't get older, get divorced, and start a stupid blog post platform like I did and end up being assholes. So that was the origins of this. And I think moving forward, really, we want a place where people can come and feel like they've got a voice, where they're not alone, where we can talk about the issues. And whether that's my ex is being a butthead, I'm being a butthead, we've got these issues, we need to shine a light on some of the major issues and give people the tools necessary that they can solve them rather than using the courts, the lawyers, the mediators, all of that. It's like, we're adults. We can solve our own problems.
Yeah. Well, that's what people want for the most part.
They do. And it's funny. I look back on how expensive my divorce was, and I realized that it was mostly the attorneys, right? Like, in the end, it was my ex and I at a coffee shop figuring everything out. But it was the attorneys that would just it's billable hours, right?
Of course. They're instigating, and they need a job.
Yeah. It's like, it's a no-fault state. Why are we still fighting over this?
It's like going to work out, and then your trainer taking you out to eat lunch,
Yeah. At Dunkin' Donuts.
At Dunkin' Donuts, exactly.
What was that? Dodgeball? Remember the movie Dodgeball?
I love Dodgeball. It's a great movie.
Yeah, where the Ben Stiller's character is like, go add 5 pounds to the scale in the girls' locker room.
Oh yes, I do remember that. You have a good memory. Yeah, that's funny.
His dad just died yesterday, sadly enough.
Oh.
Jerry Stiller.
Was it from COVID?
No, he was 92. Jerry Stiller, one of the great comedians.
Yeah.
He was Frank Costanza on Seinfeld for years.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That was
Serenity Now.
Yeah, he's a great actor. I'm sorry, that sucks. Well,
On that note,
I'm super excited about this new journey. Hopefully I can bring some insight to a lot of moms out there.
I think so.
And people who go through life shit.
People go through life shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I couldn't be happier that you're a part of this journey, and I know that, you know, we do have a lot of single moms that followed, you know, Single Daddy Daily and will continue to, but, you know, Drew and I both have younger kids. You've got a teenager, you know, your mom. So I think this is a real opportunity for us to speak to a demographic of people like, hey, what is it like when you've got a teenager who's, you know, talking to boys for the first time?
It's heartbreaking.
It's like, you know, like that's why we go to the gym.
Yeah. She's actually a smart girl. I mean, I'm her mom, so but she's a smart girl. She definitely has a good head on her shoulders. I'm not worried about her as that much. I think if anything, I'm more worried about like us as parents and what we teach. What I'm teaching her, her dad's teaching her, and then everything around her. But as far as her moves, she's a smart cookie. She's definitely like more wise than I was.
Yeah. Well, and that's our job as parents, right? Is that, you know, I always love Love and Logic, the parenting platform, because they, you know, they teach you to teach your kids to make decisions when the consequences aren't that big. And it's like, you know, when we screw up when we're 15, 16, 17, and we've always had a safety net and we don't know how to make decisions, that's when the consequences are catastrophic.
Yeah.
Or when you're 20, 21, you're going to college for the first time and like you don't know how to do anything.
But that teaches you more experience and more knowledge than anything.
True.
So, yeah.
Lots to talk about, lots to debate. So that brings us to the close of the first edition of the Single Parent Daily Podcast with Chady Dunmore.
I'm super excited.
And Evan DeMarco. And my daughter, who keeps running back and forth in the frame.
I love it.
Yeah, this is live TV, or somewhat anyway. So cool. Well, thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, make sure to check us out on iTunes. Subscribe to us on whatever podcast platform that you get your podcast. Check out our website where we have tons of great content, you know, everything that you could possibly want to know about parenting after divorce, being a single parent. And make sure to tell your friends and family about this stuff if you think that it's worthy. I think that it is. And we will catch you next week here on Single Parent Daily.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Bye-bye.
Toodle.